Anyway, let's do a monologue. So Senator J.D. Vance and Congressman Michael Cloud have introduced a bill to eliminate diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in the federal government. 20 other Republican lawmakers have already signed on. It's called the Dismantle DEI Act, and here's what it'll do. It will end DEI training. It will rescind Biden's DEI executive order. But don't worry, we won't ask Joe to spell DEI. That would require 2 speech therapists, and we'd still have to spot him the D and the E. It would also outlaw mandatory DEI pledges for employees and prevent federal contracts with companies that use DEI. Said Vance, quote, "The DEI agenda is a destructive ideology that breeds hatred and racial division. Americans' tax dollars should not be co-opted to spread this radical and divisive ideology, and this bill would ensure they are not." Well said, J.D. He can't hear me. But while smart people know DEI is racist, the most coddled bigots in America, talking heads on MSNBC, they can't get enough of it. And if you don't like DEI, well, then you're the racist.
It's known as DEI. It represents an institution, organizations, or entities' commitment to changing the culture.
At this point, it's evident what they mean by DEI, right? Okay, it means black people. It's not fashionable to be openly racist anymore in America, unlike what they call the good old days.
What we've seen in the anti-DEI movement is a reframing of what DEI was supposed to do, in addition to the benefits that are associated with it. It is now being used as a term that literally is a euphemism for the N-word.
Great. So now defining DEI is like saying the N-word. They're almost right, but for the wrong reason, in that DEI's focus on skin color casts doubt on the quality of minority employees. It is racist. Yet Biden doubled down on DEI in a Juneteenth speech. Ouch.
They're old ghosts in new garments trying to take us back. Well, there are. Taking away your freedoms, making it harder for black people to vote or have your vote counted. Closing doors of opportunity. Attacking the values of diversity, equity, and inclusion. If you can believe it, banning books about black experiences. Trying to erase and rewrite history.
What the? Seriously?
What did you call me?
I don't know. But trying to decipher that is like trying to separate conjoined twins when you only want to bang the hot one. Getting rid of DEI is good because equity means equal outcomes regardless of achievement, competence, or effort. Let's just say for a moment there are a disproportionate amount of black clarinet players in an orchestra. Equity demands we give one of their spots up to a less talented Asian. It's as simple as Brian Kilmeade. But the race hustlers assume that since equity sounds like equality, you think it's the same. But that's like saying bomb and balm are the same. One can kill you, but the other can clear up a rash you got from Larry Kudlow's hot tub. Equity takes revenge for things that never happened to you by punishing people who have never done anything to you. DEI doesn't bring Americans together, it divides us. It's intended to divide us. It makes for less qualified pilots, turns bigoted plagiarists into university presidents, and worse, it ruins Star Wars. Now, when it started, people didn't have much issue with DEI, but then it affected stuff that mattered: job prospects, investment outcomes, your health and safety. Still, it continued. And why? By exploiting the survival instinct of bureaucrats who had the choice. Do I focus on the long-term goals of increasing a company's profitability, or do I do what keeps me employed and gets me promoted faster in the short term? You see how it works? If I hire the incompetent, I am safe. If I try to pursue actual metrics of success, I am not. It's no wonder DEI consultants were the #1 recipient of DEI. Their made-up job was to exacerbate the problems they created. It's like putting John Kerry in charge of getting rid of dead wood. That's how you get things like being good at math is racist, and if you question that, you're racist, and I demand more money. But DEI really is a math question. Let's say you're at a restaurant with a full menu, But customers are told they can only eat salad or they'll lose their jobs. But after the first line of people hit the buffet, what's left are slim pickings. Meanwhile, all the other delicious food is left untouched. It's the same with hiring. Shrink the pool of applicants, you're left with fewer choices as the numbers dwindle. And the others who may be more qualified are left unhired. That's DEI. And yet they tried to browbeat us into accepting institutional racism in the name of eliminating institutional racism. And our taxes funded it. Well, not Hunter Biden's. It's another reason I admire that man. So we're actually paying out of our own pockets to be racially discriminated against. That's like me paying someone to put cigarettes out on my ass.
Sure.
And boy, is that expensive. Cigarettes are $12 a pack. So kudos to Vance and Cloud for doing something about this nonsense. Although this bill should be called the End Taxpayer-Funded Racism Act, or ETFRA, which does sound like something Joe Biden would say. Let's welcome tonight's guest. He's so white he gets sunburned by a picture of a beach. Fox News contributor Tom Shalhoub. When she shows up, everyone's interest rate rises. Host of the Evening Edit, Liz McDonald. When she plays spin the bottle, everyone else plays hide and seek. New York Times bestselling author and Fox News contributor Kat Timm. And he could Mount Rushmore. New York Times bestselling author, comedian, and former NWA champion Tyrus. So, Tyrus, I go to you first for no particular reason whatsoever. The weirdest thing about DEI is that it makes you think racially. So if a minority employee does up, you go, oh, he must be a DEI hire. It actually plants the seed of racism where it shouldn't be.
It's also a good way to cover up some really good corruption. Because especially we're seeing in this administration where you can put anyone in any job who's not qualified, they just have to meet a certain box. If it's not the color of skin, it's who they sleep with or how they dress. And instead of them having to be qualified, you can just do as many favors as you want for lobbyists and whomever, because if anyone says, well, what are the qualifications? You'll be like, oh, that's racist.
Yeah.
You know, like they need our help to get jobs. They can't do anything without us. And that's always been that Democratic line of, we have to raise the black children even though they're adults or whatever minority is, because, you know, you leave them by themselves, what are they going to do? So it's one of the most frustrating things. I would never want a job that I was put in because I'm light-skinned with tattoos. I would be like, why? I would leave. I would, you know, either you can play or you're not. Nobody wants to be given, and no real person wants to be given a career because inside they're going to be a mess in this miserable experience when you know you're not qualified for doing something. And what really bothers me about this is when they sit there on their things and the people who are arguing this act know better. They know that everyone who is sitting on these journalist TV shows, unless they're protecting their own personal interests, because if you're a DEI hire and they're like, well, he's not qualified. Well, it's because of racism is why he's not qualified, so you can't fire him. It's pathetic. As this country is the only country, this is news breaking. I just found this out recently. I traveled around this whole country. Greg, are you aware it's like 85% white?
Yeah.
Did you know that this was a white country? I had no idea. So there's probably going to be more white people around than us because there's more of them. But this is the one place. You don't see Germany or Switzerland or Sweden changing their demographics and opening doors to minorities from other countries to establish themselves and build families. You don't see that anywhere else but in America. And now they're trying to cheapen it by controlling it. And it's sad. It's as racist as it gets.
Shlu, as a white supremacist, how do you feel about what Tyrus just said?
You know, I think, you know, obviously we should get rid of DEI, but maybe we should have like a 2-year period, just try out a mend it, don't end it approach, just add one category to the list, regular white dude. Because just put them on there. Everybody else is on there, right?
But if you know, it's funny, the point you're making is ironic. If you did that, then DEI is dead.
Well, maybe we'd figure that out, right? Yeah, that would happen. And, you know, you might want to go in slowly. You might start with, like, super regular white dude that people make white dude jokes about on talk shows, you know? The guy who everyone says, oh, you're a really white guy.
Yes.
Are you pitching yourself?
Yeah, well, you know what? Go ahead and make it. Add Shalhoub to the list. That's all we need to do for now.
Just your
You are like you are the guy in the commercials that never has the right answer.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody, you have the black woman, the Asian dude, the gay fella, and you're the dumbest in every commercial. I'm making the audience very uncomfortable, and I love it. Liz, you know business, and isn't the problem with DEI is that it created a separate parallel metric that didn't have anything to do with profitability or efficiency?
Yeah, that's right. And it's almost like make work. And by the way, I'm going to admit to, for the first time in network television, a DEI fashion violation. I was so busy, I ran out of the office. I'm now wearing 2 left shoes. So my feet are killing me. I don't have diversity in my shoes, but I have equity and inclusion.
Yes, but technically,
I have 2 left shoes on. That's equity and inclusion, right?
No, you know what
or
you
is it
are?
Not?
No, Liz, you are identifying as disabled.
I am. I'm taking one for the
That's
team.
all it takes. 2 left shoes.
No, that is a very neurodivergent thing to do.
Yes. I'm in a lot of pain, but I'll carry on.
Hey, it worked out for the guy in Best in Show.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he had 2 left feet.
Yeah, that's right.
You dance in a circle?
Is that it, Liz?
We'll get a Zoom shot next after the commercial
Yes.
break on my 2 left shoes, killing me right now.
Is it going away, DEI, or is this just...
Yes, it is. Companies are getting rid of it. By the way, reportedly, the House of Representatives got rid of their own office. And I love the story today that DEI rules delayed the rollout of electric vehicle chargers.
Right, crazy.
So we only have 8 charging
Yeah, because they can't find
stations?
black electricians in certain states where there aren't a lot of them. Going back to my restaurant metaphor that all of you loved.
Right.
This audience
So
is alive.
it just feels like...
Never lead the show with DEI topics is what I've learned.
Yeah. Well, we did, but anyway, so let's carry on.
I love when Liz is on.
So is this a trend that's going to go away? I don't know. I mean, the government's keeping it alive, but private sector's not. They're getting rid of it.
Well, yeah, because you never want to, like, you're never on a plane and there's turbulence and you're like, I hope there's a really diverse crew in the cockpit.
Kat, last word to you. What say you from a libertarian perspective?
Well, as you know, I think most government programs should be eliminated.
That's true.
So, I mean, for me, I'd strongly disagree if it was the government banning DEI, as in banning a school of thought.
Right.
Which it does not have the right to do because of the First Amendment. But what this does is just eliminates taxpayer-funded programs, which I think a lot of those, regardless of what they have to do with, should be eliminated for, like this one, being proven useless. So I think they should eliminate it and then give all the money back to us.
But you know
I
what?
agree.
It's the obnoxious bullying on MSNBC, right?
Yeah.
That's so ignorant and it's so tunnel vision, right?
Right,
That's
if there were
intolerable.
statistics that showed this stuff worked, there's repeated studies showing that it doesn't make anything better.
Right.
And so we're just throwing money into it for no good reason.
By the way, I mean, if MSNBC believed in DEI, they have a few white hosts there that should step aside. But they won't. Oh, and by the way, our president is white, and he has a vice president who is black. He should step aside to help with the DEI.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.